welcome back to Grim Survival. I am still here and I got some information that I will tell you how it ties into prepping and survival by the end of this video. And I know the title of this video probably makes you think I'm going to talk about something that I'm absolutely not going to talk about. And yes, I did that intentionally as clickbait because I thought it was funny, and just to make you run through the ads to get absolutely no information. This is for the trolls, obviously not everybody. But yeah, I really like feeding the trolls, okay? I really do. I intentionally do things to mess with people. I have been intentionally doing things to mess with people in a couple of live streams and several other videos just because I find it to be highly entertaining for me personally. So, one of my goals here on YouTube is to entertain myself, and I do it quite well. So you keep that in mind throughout the future of all of my videos. Alright, so I am going to talk about wrongfully convicted. And yes, if you are looking for the information that I know a lot of you are, just go watch the end of my last Bible reading. You'll get all the information I'm willing to give right there. And that'll be it. Alright, moving on. So, wrongfully convicted is the title of this video because I thought it was clickbait and funny. But I am going to talk about prison statistics. Some of these statistics are back 2019, some of them 2020, and a few of them here 21. But for the most part, they're going off 2019 statistics, which actually hasn't changed much since 2019 from my research I've been doing here as of late. Okay, so I'm just going to start this right here because this is the basic information that I think a lot of people are unaware of. So this is, and I'm not going to throw up any of this information on the screen just because where my computer currently is, it's absolutely impossible to do a recording from that location because of just various things until I am able to pick up some soundproofing panels and soundproof an area. It's just, yeah, I'm probably out in the vehicle for recording. All right, so anyway. It is estimated that between 2.3% and 5% of all U.S. prisoners are innocent, with the number of incarcerated Americans being approximately 2.4 million people. By that estimate, as many as 120,000 people may be incarcerated as a result of a wrongful conviction. I'll talk a little more about that in just a minute. There are pretty interesting websites. I have the tablet here and I'm going to try to share the links for these websites where I'm getting some of this information. The one I'm looking at right now, the first thing I read was just off of Google that comes off of Wiki, obviously. The second one I'm going to read here, it has a lot of the same information, but this website you can actually go state by state, if you can see that, state by state, and see populations in your areas. You can find out locations of these facilities so you know how close they are to you personally, and that's where we're going to get into the prepping and survival aspect of this, but bear with me, we will get there. Alright, so this website is worldpopulationreview.com, and then you got to find the state rankings and prisons and blah 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 blah. Alright, so these numbers were, the previous numbers I read to you were from 2020. These numbers are coming from 2019. It's saying about 2.19 million prisoners as of 2019 are in federal and state prisons, and over 700,000 people are in county jails awaiting whatever they're awaiting. Mass incarceration in the United States has led to several problems. Among these are overcrowded prisons, which lead to increased health risks and decreased physical well-being and psychological well-being as well. Additionally, the increased number of prisoners puts a major strain on state budgets. State prisons spend as high as $69,355 per inmate per year. The average cost of an inmate in New York. Now, that's obviously coming from New York, where, everything's a little more expensive, so that's going to vary, but that is an average of almost $70,000 per inmate per year, and we have roughly 2.5 million people incarcerated. Do the math on this. Now, I'm gonna tell you a little bit about my theories on this and how we could, But anyway, Obviously, the 10 states with the highest prison populations in the country are, number one, Texas. Texas, everything's bigger in Texas with over 150,000 people incarcerated. California comes in at a close second with over 120,000 people incarcerated. Florida falls down a bit but is number 3 with 96,000. Georgia, number 4, 54,000. Ohio's 50,000. New York is 43,000. They're ranked number 7. Oddly enough, Illinois, which I thought would be higher on this list, is ranked number 9 at 38,259. Closely behind at number 10 is Michigan with 38,053 people are incarcerated. That's a lot of people incarcerated. Over 2 million people at $70,000 a year. Wow. Wow, we're paying a lot of money for these people. Just that alone, with the current state of our economy, unemployment, and all the various economic problems we're having in the United States and all over the world right now, we are supporting over, 2.5 million people at $70,000 a year. A lot of these people should not be in this kind of facility. And I'm going to say that outright. There's a lot of them that have, and this is proven fact, there's a lot of them that should be in some sort of mental health facility or rehabilitation facility, not just locked away and forgot about. These places really do make things worse for the population in these places. Whether you agree with it or not, you have to look at the psychological aspect of the people that go into these places and come back out of them and how they change from going in to coming out. It can be a very dangerous situation to put all these people in one place like this, because they form groups, they form gangs, they form, stronger. They become stronger, really. They become smarter, because you have nothing but time to learn, and you have nothing but people around you that know a lot of bad things that can teach you a lot of things. So you're really just not helping anybody by locking people away in this fashion. It's just not helping anybody. It never has. If you go back in time a few hundred years, we didn't have this problem with prisons and throwing people away and just forgetting about them and then supporting their, daily needs. Sorry for my runny nose. It's hot out here and I don't know, pollen's high today or something. I don't know. Anyway, there's just no point to this. There's no point. If it's proven, now we're going to run into some problems here with this theory really quick problems. But if somebody is proven to have murdered somebody, proven, without a doubt, most certainly, that person did it. Why don't we just, a lot of states still do, Texas being one of them, but a lot of states don't. They don't believe in it. You shouldn't. My theories on this come from, and my viewpoint on this whole thing comes from this right here, my Bible. And there are clear instructions on what to do to people and what you should do with people. Not everybody obviously was killed for crimes. A lot of people just had to pay it back, plus, interest, as we would call it today, but pay back double of what they stole if it was a monetary thing, or, if it was something where somebody died, then that's what happened to you. If you killed somebody, sorry, but that's how that worked. And if we still believed in those types of things, or if we still operated in that particular manner, we would not have an overpopulation and be supporting, millions or billions? I'd have to do the math. I didn't do the math. I think it's somewhere in the $1 billion range, over $1 billion per year, to support all these prisons. And this is just per prisoner. Now, I'm not even sure they're factoring in the utility costs, the water, the electricity, everything that is required to keep the building up and running, all the electronic security equipment, the surveillance, the cameras. We're talking probably in the trillions of dollars on a whole for just the United States when you look at all of these places, where a lot of these people shouldn't even be there. It's one of those things where nobody wants to deal with it. You don't want to deal with it, so they shove it somewhere and let it be. That creates a lot of problems. It creates not only a logistical problem, it creates a housing problem, it creates health problems, it creates so many problems within the facilities, but also it's creating a strain on individual states that have to foot the bill for all these people in here. Now we have another side of this where a lot of, we're talking about state prisons and federal penitentiaries, things like that. But did you know there are thousands of these facilities around the country that are privately owned? They are privately owned corporations that contract themselves to states to hold the state's prisoners, but that's a private organization. So, you're talking $70,000 per prisoner, but in these private prisons, you're only probably shelling out about 30 grand of that per prisoner. The rest of it's going to the prison and their employees and the owners of the facility that are just lining their pockets, as in any other business. The criminal justice system in the United States is nothing but a big business corporation. That's all it is. Their entire goal, no matter what you did or what anyone did, if you find yourself in this criminal justice system, you will learn very quickly that they only have the one goal, and that is to get as much money from you as they possibly can, whether you have it or not. They don't care if you have it or not, but if you don't pay it, you are not going to have a very pleasant experience throughout the court system, whether you are the defendant, the plaintiff, or what. Sorry for the runny nose. I'm just going to keep wiping it on my sleeve because this shirt just needs to go to the wash anyway. Yeah. All right, that's nasty. I didn't bring my coffee. Coffee. I lost the screen lock. There we go. Password. All right. So, the United States has about 437 prisoners per 100,000 people as at the end of 2019. So, per every 100,000 people roaming around, about just under 500 of them are prisoners. I'm not even going to go there. All right, so like I was saying, about almost 500 people per every 100,000 are prisoners. And they're doing, for the mass population of these 2.5 million people that are locked in these facilities, they ain't doing nothing. They're just sitting there all day, consuming resources, food, water, oxygen, electricity. That's all they're doing. They're not contributing anything to anything. Now, there are work programs in a lot of these places where some of them can work, blah, blah, blah. But the vast majority of these people are not doing anything at all. Why? Why? Somebody explain why they just, you did something bad, go, have a vacation in this room, stay in there for however many years, don't do nothing. Some people want that. There are a lot of people that, hey, that doesn't sound too bad. Look at the unemployment. Now, this is a whole different video. I could go off on a tangent, though. Look at the unemployment rates of how many people are just content, just sitting around doing nothing. That's what they do. That's what they've been doing for 2 years now. They don't care. I'm not content doing nothing. All right, just a little side note here. After my issues were concluded, I've had this very strong feeling. I guess you could say I'm feeling compelled to do something more with life. Do something important. I don't know. I need to get out, do things, to live, to, one of my goals of my channel was helping some people. I like helping people. I really do. It just makes me feel better about the planet I live on, that, there's still people that can help people. And there's people that have helped me, and yeah, it's what you should do, right? That being said, I would still help anybody who asked, even all of the morons on the YouTube channel who keep saying all the stupid crap about me that's completely not true. I'd still help any one of them if they asked. I really would. But anyway, back to it. We are supporting billions of dollars in people just sitting there doing nothing, when I'm sure we could find better things for them to do. There are so many places that, let's just talk about, now there's reasons why this isn't done, but let's just talk about road construction for a minute. Everybody's seeing traffic cones this time of year, probably everywhere, no matter what state you live in, you're seeing traffic cones here or there. Road construction's going on. You drive past these construction sites, let's say on weekends or on, holidays or whatever, and sometimes during the week, just outright, you drive past these construction sites, nothing's happening. You can't tell me that we have 2 million people locked up somewhere and none of them have any skill to dig a hole with a shovel, because I'm sure some of them have the skill. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, some of these people you can't take out into public because they're a danger to themselves, they're a danger to the other prisoners, blah, 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 blah. there's two reasons why that is stupid. First, one reason is that person, if they're a danger to themselves and the other prisoners and cannot be taken outside of the facility to, dig a hole or whatever, that person either needs to be locked in a mental health facility to, help them, because that's what the original goal of these facilities were, to rehabilitate and help people, not to, break them. And anyway, so if this person's a danger to themselves and other people and cannot be out, then that person should not be in the prison to begin with, in my opinion. They should have either been put in a mental health facility where they could get the help they need, or if the crimes they committed were more drastic and more violent, then they should have just been put down, period. Right up until, I guess you could call it, modern industrial era of the United States, that's what happened. That is what happened. If you did it, you were done. They firing squads, hangings, whatever. Burn them at the stake. What they did, they got it done. Let's just put it that way. If you take it even farther back and look at, say, the Romans had an interesting prison system, because you know what? If you're going to commit a crime and you're going to do something you shouldn't be doing, then you know what you're going to do after that? You're going to entertain us. So yeah, bringing back the gladiators and the games of Rome, that would be entertaining. Fights to the death, all that kind of thing. I personally would find it entertaining. I would, because, yeah, but who wouldn't? I mean, I know what you're thinking, bloody, gory, blah, 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 blah. Read this book bloody, gory things are all through it. From the start to the end. 4th of July is over, people. So, yeah, 4th of July, I hope everybody had a great Independence Day. I hope everybody still has all their fingers and toes. Their arms are still attached, no burns. Happens every year to somebody. And you would think by now people would have learned that alcohol consumption and explosives just don't mix very well. Something bad is bound to happen, but they keep doing it. They just keep doing it. I had a very restful 4th of July weekend. I did, basically just, work around houses. Yeah, I did some work. Not on Saturday. I still keep the Sabbath. I did not a whole lot of absolutely nothing on Saturday. Well, I wouldn't say nothing, just this kind of thing. And yeah, I still have a lot of things over there to do. And I did not get my garden in this year. I'm looking up fall vegetables. I'm going to start some buckets, hopefully. I'll get a bunch of fall bucket crops planted. I still have time to put potatoes in the ground. I got to get some soil, though, because I can't just dig a giant hole where I'm at and just take the topsoil and use it. Unfortunately, that's what I did the last place I lived, just so you know. And I'm like, hey, that looks like good topsoil. Scoop, just dig it up. Why not? It's cheap. But yeah, I have to find soil for cheap. That's the goal. And nothing's cheap anymore. But anyway, I keep getting distracted and going off. I'm just going to conclude this with these prison systems really quickly. The one important statistic I'd like to just cover really quickly are the as many as 120,000 people at the end of 2019 that are incarcerated because of wrongful conviction. Wrongful conviction. I'm going to talk about that just for a minute. I'm going to try to talk about this without getting angry and yelling at people. So wish me luck on that. I keep trying to make the Patreon video. I keep promising, but I keep turning it into a rant, and I don't want to turn it into a rant, so that's the problem I'm having with that. Anyway, moving on. In the United States right now, how our justice systems work. They will tell you, and you'll hear it all the time, innocent until proven guilty. That is not true. It's actually guilty until you can pay for your innocence. Pay for it. And I will give you several examples. But that is the actual reality of the system that we are stuck with, per se. Guilty until you can buy your innocence. That's how it works. That is really how it works. For example, if you're poor and somebody says you did something and you go to jail for it, your options then are to have a court-appointed attorney who doesn't care, just wants to get it done as quickly as possible, doesn't care at all, or to just say, you know what, I did it, lock me up, because I can't fight it anyway. I don't have enough money to do so. Now let's look at the other side of that, where a very rich celebrity gets drunk, drives his car, takes somebody out, and gets a slap on the wrist for it, an ankle bracelet or whatever, and goes home and spends the next 3 years chilling in his multi-million-dollar mansion, having anything he wants brought to him. Because, you know why? Because he had enough money to buy his way out. If you don't have enough money to buy your way out, you're probably going to end up in a bad situation. Probably. Guilty until proven innocent. All it takes in this country right now, and you can prove this, and there's a big news story going around about Bill Cosby being released, and, all these supposedly he was convicted, but then they say some kind of loophole, they didn't try it right, whatever. The guy had a lot of money. How is it he didn't buy his way out? How did that happen? There's always an exception to every rule, because somebody always needs to go down for something to keep the population appeased. So you take some washed up unknown celebrity who's in his 80s or 70s, late 70s, early 80s, whatever, and you throw him under the bus, and you make a big giant news story out of it, and you do all of those things, and then you lock the guy away, while all these other rich people just did way worse things than this guy was even accused of. But you know what? We're paying attention to this over here because this is our scapegoat. Look at this. Don't pay attention to what's going on over here. That's exactly what they do. That's exactly how the system works. Every now and then, somebody has to be made an example out of. Every now and then. So, all it takes is a female. One female. If I was a female right now, and just some random guy was walking down the street in front of me, all I would have to do is dial up 3 numbers and say, that guy touched me. And guess what? That guy gets locked in the back of a car, gets handcuffs put on him, hauled down to the jail, locked in the jail, has to have an attorney appointed to him, has to spend thousands of dollars in fees and in trying to get himself out if he can even do so. All of this. All because somebody didn't like the way you looked and decided they were going to say something about it. Over 120,000 people have been wrongfully convicted and are locked up in this country. And that's an estimate, obviously. Right now, over 120,000 people. A lot of them because a female said something. Whether it was true or not, that's all it takes. That's it. Now, let's look at the double standard of it here. Because if I, personally me, seen some female walking down the street, dialed the same 3 numbers, and said she did something, blah, 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 do you think they'd even show up? Because personally, I don't even think they'd come out here. They'd be like, okay, click, hang up the phone. I don't even think they'd come out. But, you put the opposite situation out there, that guy's going to jail. And it's going to cost him a lot. Rather it be monetary, personal, whatever it is. It's easy. It's easy to ruin someone's life. Now, I will leave on this final note right here about all the YouTube videos that had my name attached to it. There were a lot of them. Man, there were a lot. There were playlists dedicated to me, most of which have been taken down forcefully by not only YouTube, but my attorney, I might add. Yeah, that certain things that you post on YouTube can, even if you're not doing anything that you think is wrong, when you throw somebody's picture up there and start running your mouth and saying a bunch of non-true crap about them, that is illegal. Yeah. Anyway, there was a lot of it. They needed a scapegoat. See, what the problem was at the time was all these people, very stressed out. They had nothing to bring them together. They had nothing, to go with. They needed something. They all needed something. And me, being me, was just a little too honest one day, and then they all said, ooh, we got something. And then they all went and they got their pitchforks and they got their torches out and they took what's left of their brains and they put it in a box over here because they didn't need to use it for the next, I don't know, 6 months. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah. Oh well, still here. Still here. Still armed too. Alright, I did forget something. I forgot something, so I'm going to tie it in somewhere in this video. I'll edit it in somewhere. I had to tie this whole prison system into the prepping and survival aspect. I completely forgot about it because, I went off on a tangent. So let me just add that somewhere in the middle here. Yeah. Prepping and survival when it comes to these prison systems. There are prisons in every single state that we live in. Every state in the United States that we live in. Every single state in the United States has more than one prison. Multiple prisons. Multiple, for the most part. Multiple. How close are they to you? From a prepping and survival standpoint, in an SHTF or WROL situation, we are going to see a mass exodus coming from the prisons. If you live in the vicinity of these places, there are a lot of these people that deserve to be there. There are a lot of these people that should not even be walking the earth, more or less, free. But they are going to find what they need, and they are going to find it in the closest place. And they're going to use up the resource in the closest place and then move on. Now, what they need is the same thing you need. Food, water, and safety, protection, ammunition. So from a prepping standpoint, if you live within walking distance, or if you live, I would just put it within a 20-mile radius of any one of these facilities, you really need to focus your preps on hardening defenses and making sure that somebody can't just walk up to your home or your bunker or wherever you're planning to be undetected. You need to know they are coming for miles away. And that also ties into the survival standpoint of this. If you know it's there and you know that they're just letting them out, probably a good idea to consider evacuation and bugging out. It's probably a good idea. My opinions. Anyway, I'm going to shut up because I got other things to do. I'm going to attempt to record a Patreon video, go over a couple of things with Patreon because it's been quite a while since I put it up there. Every time I try to make a Patreon video, it turns into a rant, so I'm going to try not to do that. Wish me luck. Anyway, this has been James with Grim Survival, wishing everyone a very blessed week. Have a very blessed week. Blessed. Blessed. You know what blessed is, right? I mean, not just one of those weeks where you made it. You made it to Friday. You didn't die. Car didn't break down. No, blessed in abundance. There's only one way to be blessed with abundance this week. And you know what it is. I know you do. One way. He's up there. See you next time.